Minutes. Mr. Presiding Officer, Honorable Senator Judges, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. The issue before the impeachment court today is not whether you possess the power to issue a subpoena.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, everyone, to the members of this honorable court. May it please the court. Simple lang po ang isyong kinakaharap natin ngayong hapon na ito. Pero napakabigat. Bubuksan ba natin ang pinto ng katotohanan o haharangin ito? Ang hiling ng prosecution ay mailabas ang buong katotohanan so that this court may know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and make its decisions based on that. That is why we have requested the issuance of subpoena duces tecum for the bank records, tax records, and anti-money laundering council reports relating to Vice President Sara Duterte and her husband, Attorney Mans Carpio. Sa pamamagitan nito, may lalahad ang buong katotohanan tungkol sa mga alegasyon sa Article 2 ng Articles of Impeachment. Una, na pinayaman ni Vice Presidente ang kanyang sarili ng labis-labis sa kanyang legal na sahod at lehitimong kita bilang isang lingkod bayan. Pangalawa, na meron siyang mga ari-arihang hindi dineklara sa kanyang Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth. At pangatlo, na habang siya ay nanunungkulan bilang Vice Presidente, nakibahagi siya sa negosyo, directly or indirectly, kahit ipinagbabawal ito ng ating konstitusyon. Sasabihin marahil ng depensa na walang kapangyarihan ang hukumang ito na busisiin ng mga bank records, tax records at AMLA reports ni VP Sara. With all due respect, that argument is not only legally flawed, it is an affront to the authority of this honorable court. Kung tatanggapin po natin ang argumentong ito, hahayaan natin maliitin at insultuhin ang hukumang ito. The Constitution, Your Honors, please, vests this impeachment court with extraordinary powers. Tanging ang hukumang ito lamang ang may kapangyarihang magpasya kung ang mga pinakamataas na pinuno ng ating bansa ay karapat-dapat pa rin manungkulan. Because this power comes directly from the Constitution, no one, no person, no law, no administrative rule can limit or supersede it. I repeat, nothing and no one can handcuff this court's power to try and decide this impeachment case. Kahit ang bank secrecy law po ay sumusunod at tumatalima sa impeachment court. The law explicitly states, and I quote its pertinent portions, all deposits are hereby considered as of an absolutely confidential nature except in cases of impeachment. Walang kaduda-duda, may karapatan at kapangyarihan ng impeachment court na busisiin ang mga bank records ni VP Sara. Hindi rin po hadlang ang Data Privacy Act. The law itself affirms that confidentiality shall not apply, and I quote, should the personal information be needed pursuant to a subpoena duly issued. Muli, walang kaduda-duda. May karapatan at kapangyarihan ng impeachment court na ipasubpoena ang mga dokumento ni VP Sara Duterte. Pero sabi po ng kampo ni Vice President, irrelevant daw ang mga bank records, AMLAC reports at BIR records. Lalo na daw yung mga transaksyon na nangyari bago siya umupo bilang pangalawang pangulo dahil wala raw itong kinalaman sa kasong ito. The prosecution respectfully but vehemently disagrees. Ayon sa report ng Anti-Money Laundering Council na isinumite sa Committee on Justice ng House of Representatives, the financial activity of Vice President Sara C. Duterte increased significantly starting 2007 when transaction values surged to 208.15 million pesos. According to this report, which is marked as Exhibit P-2-7-8, I quote, "Financial movements intensified between 2009 and 2013 with consistently high totals exceeding 400 million pesos, including notable peaks in 2009, 704.93 million pesos, 2010, 648.58 million pesos, and 2011, 597.15 million pesos. Si VP Sara po ay nanungkulan bilang Vice Mayor ng Davao City mula 2007 hanggang 2010. Naglingkod naman siya bilang Mayor ng Davao City mula 2010 hanggang 2013. From 2007 to 2013, ayon sa records ng AMLAC, lumampas sa 3 billion pesos ang kanyang financial activity. May kinalaman ba ito? Ito ba ay relevant sa Article 2 ng Articles of Impeachment, which alleges, among others, that VP Sara betrayed the public trust and culpably violated the Constitution when she amassed unexplained wealth manifestly disproportionate to her lawful income? Para sa prosecution, malinaw ang sagot. The Vice President's financial activity as Vice Mayor and Mayor of Davao City relates directly to the main fact in issue in this case, her fitness or unfitness to serve as Vice President. Let me explain. The framers of the 1987 Constitution added betrayal of public trust as a ground for impeachment, and I quote, "to include all acts which render the officer unfit to continue in office." For this honorable court to determine whether VP Sara Duterte is unfit to continue in office, it must have a clear picture of the respondent as a public servant. Kailangan makita ng publiko at ng mga senator judge ang tunay na kulay ng vice-presidente at larawan ng kanyang buong pagkatao bilang isang lingkod bayan. If she amassed staggering amounts of unexplained wealth while she was a vice mayor and mayor, doesn't that say a lot about her unfitness to serve as a vice president? Isn't that relevant to the question this court must resolve at the end of this trial of whether or not the vice president betrayed the trust given to her by the people? From what I have gathered and read, Your Honors, please, this is not the first time this court has been confronted with this issue. Sa impeachment ni dating Chief Justice Renato Corona, tinanggap ng hukumang ito ang mga ebidensyang nakalap bago pa man siya naupo bilang punong hukom. I believe it was then Senator Judge, now presiding officer Francis Escudero, who raised the question, will the impeachment court consider only Corona's acts as Chief Justice? This after observing that some exhibits predated his appointment as Chief Justice. This matter was taken up in caucus, after which this court decided to allow such evidence. When Philippine Savings Bank President Pascual Garcia III testified before this court in the same Corona trial, he refused to answer the question of then Senator Judge Franklin Drilon on the starting balance of Corona's 2 peso-denominated accounts. But, if I'm not mistaken, it was Senator Judge Alan Peter Cayetano who said that records of initial deposits are among the quote-unquote opening documents that should have been brought to the impeachment court. After reading the subpoena, presiding officer Senator Juan Ponce Enrile held that Senator Judge Cayetano's observation was correct. During the same hearing, the presiding officer ordered the issuance of subpoena to PS Bank Katipunan branch manager Annabel Tiongson to bring all the bank records of the Chief Justice. A few days later, the impeachment court denied the defense's motion to quash the subpoena for the peso bank accounts of CJ Corona. The presiding officer explained that the purpose of the subpoena is to find out if Corona has not included the deposits in his salin. This court also denied the defense's motion to suppress evidence on Corona's bank accounts. Sa huli, binusisi ng hukumang ito ang bank records ni Chief Justice Corona mula sa kanyang unang balanse bago pa man siya naging punong mahistrado. The panel of prosecutors respectfully submits that the subpoenas for the production of the bank records, AMLA documents, and BIR documents of the Vice President and her husband are proper and should be issued by this honorable court. Now allow me, Your Honors, to return to my first point. There is a deeper reason why this court must resist the attempts of the respondent to exclude evidence that is obviously relevant. It has to do with curtailing the power of this court. The Constitution gives this honorable court, and I quote, the sole power to try and decide impeachment cases. Kayo lang po, Your Honors, ang may kapangyarihang magpasya kung ano ang impeachable offense at kung anong ebidensya ang maaaring tanggapin para patunayan ito. Kinilala ito mismo ng Korte Suprema. In the case of Francisco versus House of Representatives, the Supreme Court declared, and I quote, a determination of what constitutes an impeachable offense is a purely political question which the Constitution has left to the sound discretion of the legislature. Such an intent is clear from the deliberations of the Constitutional Commission. Inulit po ito ng Supreme Court sa kasong Gutierrez versus House of Representatives, where the Supreme Court declared, and I quote, Francisco instructs that this issue would require the court to make a determination of what constitutes an impeachable offense. Such a determination is purely a political question which this Constitution has left to the sound discretion of the legislature. Clearly, the issue calls upon this court to decide a non-justiciable political question which is beyond the scope of its judicial power. Since this impeachment court has the sole power to determine what constitutes an impeachable offense, no one, not the Supreme Court, much less the defense, can impose limitations on that power. No one can dictate to this court how to exercise the exclusive power to decide what constitutes an impeachable offense. In closing, Your Honors, I go back to the most fundamental provision in our Constitution on the accountability of public officers, Article 11, Section 1, which provides, and I quote, public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must at all times be accountable to the people. Ibig sabihin po, sa proseso ng impeachment, ang pananagutan sa taong bayan ang pinakamahalaga sa lahat. Kaya naman po, ang hiling namin sa Korte, gamitin ang inyong natatanging kapangyarihan at karapatan na busisiin ang bank records, tax records at AMLA reports kaugnay ni VP Sara at ng kanyang asawa. Sa ganitong paraan, Your Honors, madedesisyonan ninyo ang kaso base sa buong katotohanan. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth para sa interes at kapakanan ng sambayanang Pilipino. Before I close, if Your Honors, please, if I have whatever time I have left, may I request that it be credited to my rebuttal. Maraming salamat po.
Attorney Powa, if you're ready, you may proceed with your oral arguments on the twin motions filed by the prosecutors. You may proceed, sir, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You have 15 minutes.
Mr. Presiding Officer, Honorable Senator Judges, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. The issue before the impeachment court today is not whether you possess the power to issue a subpoena. The real issue is whether such power may be exercised in a manner that disregards due process and compels the production of documents and information beyond what is allowed by law. Your Honors, jurisprudence provides that for a subpoena to be valid, it must comply with twin requirements of 1, definiteness, and 2, relevance. Ibig sabihin po nun, dapat particularly describe po ang nasasaklaw ng subpoena at dapat may direktang kaugnayan sa ginagawang paglilitis. Your Honors, when a subpoena becomes oppressive, when it is unreasonable, and when it is merely issued for the very purpose that there is a hope that somewhere, somehow, something incriminating will come out, it ceases to be an instrument of justice. It becomes a weapon of a fishing expedition. And that is exactly what confronts this very court today. And that is why the defense has taken the position that the prosecution's requests must be denied. Allow me to explain, and let me begin with constitutional points. Our first point, Your Honors, due process. Impeachment is primarily a legal and constitutional procedure with political characteristics. It is sui generis, but it is not a purely political proceeding. Ibig sabihin po nun, the Bill of Rights, especially the due process clause, applies in all stages of the impeachment process. Your Honors, those are not my words. Those are the words of the Supreme Court in Duterte versus House of Representatives. And that is the law of the land. When we speak of due process, we offer a simple proposition that evidence must be present to support each and every accusation. Pero hindi po yon yung nangyari dito. Balikan po natin kung saan nagsimula itong proceeding na ito. I have here with me, Your Honors, copies of the Saballa and Cabrera complaints, both filed before the House of Representatives. Both accused the Vice President of allegedly amassing unexplained wealth, both with voluminous attachments, yet not one attached a document to support that accusation. Not a single financial transaction record, not even a single SALN. In fact, it was only after these complaints were filed, and more significantly, only after the respondent had filed her answer before the Committee on Justice, that committee started searching for evidence to somehow support these accusations through, again, the issuance of subpoenas. Your Honors, we objected then, and we are still objecting now, because with all due respect, the position of the defense is that is the very definition of a fishing expedition. Your Honors, in our legal system, it is not permitted to accuse now and then just look for proof later on. That is not how due process works. Hindi po dapat natin pinapayagan yan. Moving on to my second point, Your Honors, let's talk about relevance. It is our position that the requests of the prosecution are in fact fatally overbroad. Bakit po fatally overbroad? An impeachable offense is an act or omission committed while the public official is occupying an impeachable office, not before being elected or appointed to such position. Again, Your Honors, those are not my words. Those are the words of the Supreme Court in Duterte versus the House of Representatives. That is controlling, and that is the law of the land. Yet here, Your Honor, today, the prosecution is requesting for documents spanning almost 2 decades, almost 20 years, dating as far back as 2007. Your Honors, it is a fact na noong 2007, ang respondent ay vice mayor pa lamang. Definitely not an impeachable office, Your Honors. How is that relevant? It is the position of the defense that it is not. In fact, what that is an unlimited search throughout a person's financial history. That should not be allowed. Your Honors, if a subpoena is not narrowly tailored, it is oppressive. For these reasons alone, we are of the position that the request should already be dismissed. Nonetheless, if the impeachment court were to extend its utmost liberality, which the prosecution have asked for in their memorandum, we'd like to point out, Your Honors, that Congress itself, the Senate and the House of Representatives, enacted laws that specifically prohibit the disclosure of these information that the prosecution is asking for now. Let us go through them one by one. Let's start with RA 9160 as amended by RA 11521, which is the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Your Honors, the prosecution is asking for covered transaction reports, suspicious transaction reports, financial intelligence reports, again, spanning almost 2 decades. However, it is clear under Section 8A, which we are flashing on the screen right now, na bawal po yun. Disclosure is prohibited under this provision, Your Honors. It is in black and white. Meron po bang exception? Wala po. Impeachment is not an exception. Had Congress wanted to make impeachment as an exception, madali lang naman pong ilagay yun sa batas. Pero hindi po iyon nagawa. Now, in fact, I also have here copies of the Financial Intelligence Report and another report from the AMLAC, the Information Management Analysis Group, which were already marked as exhibits, Your Honor, and it's in the records of the court. Exhibit D2-8-P1, where it says specifically that it should not be the information should not be used as evidence in formal proceedings, Your Honors. Clearly, Your Honors, to compel AMLAC officials to disclose such information would be to compel them to violate the law. Let's move on now to the tax records, Your Honors. Prosecution is asking for tax records, so let's look at the tax code. Section 270 of which criminalizes disclosure of taxpayers' information. Meron po bang exception sa batas na ito? Meron po, but it is limited. Kasama po bang impeachment? Hindi po. That is very clear. Again, Congress wanted to put an exception for impeachment. They could have easily done so, but they did not. Now, Your Honors, let's go to bank secrecy law, RA 1405. The state policy has always been to favor the secrecy of bank deposits, Your Honors. Dito, while we recognize that impeachment is in fact an exception, Your Honors, we submit that this exception is not automatic. Meaning, hindi porket may exception for impeachment, pwede na kaagad natin buksan ang lahat ng bank records na hinihingi ng prosecution. Why? Because, Your Honor, this exception does not dispense with constitutional safeguards. It does not abolish the right to due process. So dapat po, meron pa rin tayong basihan. If you look at the articles of impeachment, wala naman po doon na nagsasabing yung sinasabing unexplained wealth coming from, even if it was an illegal activity, ay pinasok sa isang specific account. In fact, Your Honors, this exception does not automatically mean that we should permit a fishing expedition. Yun nga pong mga bank account numbers na nakaspecify sa request for the issuance of a subpoena, ang aming posisyon po dyan, yan po ay nakalap doon sa illegal disclosure, with all due respect, na ginawa ng AMLAC before the Committee on Justice. And then, Your Honors, they're also asking for the bank records of the spouse. Your Honor, the spouse is not an impeachable officer. And therefore, the spouse is not covered by this exception. Again, Your Honors, we should not allow this. In closing, Your Honors, the prosecution has repeatedly invoked accountability. Your Honors, we agree with them. No one is above the law. But in the same manner, no one must fall below or be outside the protection of the law. Impeachment is indeed a powerful constitutional tool. But Your Honors, impeachment is not a magic word or a magic wand that one can just wave to transform an illegal act into a legal act, to transform unlawful access to lawful access. That is not what the Constitution contemplates. That is not what the laws enacted by Congress contemplate. And that is not something that the Honorable Impeachment Court should allow. We submit, Your Honors. Thank you very much.
Madaling sabihin na confidential ang ilang impormasyon at dokumento. Madaling magturo ng batas. Pero ang hinahanap po ng impeachment court ngayon at sa mga susunod na araw, linggo at buwan ay ang katotohanan at ang layunin ay makamit ang pananagutan. Confidentiality, Your Honor, should not be the prevailing principle in this proceeding. Hindi po confidential ang katotohanan. Maraming salamat po.
Your Honors, I respect, of course, the arguments put forth by the distinguished opposing counsel. But when it comes to due process, Your Honors, I think it's beyond debate, no, that due process must be observed in every stage of the proceedings. And aside from that, due process requires, Your Honor, that we also respect the protections afforded by law on the respondent. Your Honors, ang sabi po ng ating distinguished opposing counsels, obiter lang daw po yung sinabi ng Supreme Court. But Your Honors, nung sinabi ng Supreme Court sa Duterte versus House of Representatives na ang impeachable offense is an act or omission that is committed by a public officer while occupying an impeachable office, hindi naman po siguro pwede doon lang sa yung one-third mode gamitin yung ganong definition, pero pagdating po sa ibang mode ay hindi na po applicable yung ganong definition. Your Honors, in fact, in that decision, which I failed to mention earlier, sinabi rin po that the acts or omissions must be done in relation to the office. Kasi yun nga po ang purpose ng impeachment. Next, Your Honors, yung sinasabi na dapat kahit na may mga prohibition sa batas, pwede pa rin nating masapina para ma-examine. Your Honors, it is the wisdom of Congress kaya po may ganung mga prohibitions against disclosure under the law. Kung papayagan po natin that a court process, even an impeachment court, can issue a subpoena to thwart those provisions, it's as if, Your Honor, we are doing judicial legislation here because a judicial issuance can easily repeal for the time being that provision or at least suspend, Your Honor. Maybe not repeal. Properly, the proper word might be suspend that provision of law. I've never heard about that, Your Honors. And then, lastly, Your Honors, parati nating sinasabi rin, no? Two points. Yung nabanggit na Section 71. I agree po under the tax code that Section 71 provides that if the President orders, then nawawala na po yung confidentiality. However, Your Honors, even given that there's an order from the President, I think we should still think about the relevance. Para saan ba ine-examine yung mga dokumento? Hindi ba para sa impeachment proceeding? Hindi po namin sinasabi na kung sakaling nagkamali man ang Vice Presidente, kung sakaling may paglabag man sa batas ang Vice Presidente noon, ay hindi na pwedeng maparusahan. Marami naman pong paraan. You can file cases against the Vice President for those infractions, preterm infractions. Pero pag impeachment po ang pinag-uusapan, we are limited to what impeachable offenses are. And again, the Supreme Court is clear about that. Your Honors, there's also a repeated citation of the Corona case. But we would just like to point out that the Corona case was tried, decided upon way before Duterte versus HOR. And Your Honors, since it was decided before Duterte versus HOR, the Supreme Court was fully cognizant of what happened in the Corona trial. And yet, Your Honors, they imposed these guidelines. In fact, the line itself in the Duterte versus HOR is we clarify, I quote, we clarify the constitutional requirements of impeachment. At kasama doon yung nabanggit namin kanina on what constitutes an impeachable offense. And that is very clear. Marahil, sinasabi natin na yon ay isang obiter, pero Your Honors, paano po magiging obiter yon? Kung yun mismo ang itinakbo ng desisyon. The fact that the one-year bar was triggered was only the effect of not abiding by the due process clause of the Constitution. And lastly, again, Your Honors, we do not disagree with the prosecution in terms of accountability. Again, no one is above the law, but no one should also be deprived of the protection given by law, Your Honors. Thank you.
Siguro that's up to the court to decide po. Hindi na po ako magko-comment tungkol dyan. The Vice President has stated what she felt and whether it's covered by sub judice or not. Kaparehas ng mga komento rin ng both prosecution and defense. Yan po ay nasa impeachment court na po to decide.
Sir, doon sa manifestation po kanina ni Lead Counsel Attorney Sheila Sison, bakit po important yung ganong manifestation na kailangan maikli lang po ang mga manifestation before?
Well, na-explain naman ni lead prosecutor Luis din po yung kanilang side, so we have to respect that. Pero on the part of the defense, ayaw lang po natin yung mga ganyang manifestation because if there are conclusions in law and conclusions of facts rather, ang nangyayari kasi nakukondition yung publiko, no? Hindi naman, lalo na pag technical yung mga nangyayari, syempre gusto nating may paliwanag sa publiko, pero pag sa ganung paraan, ang pakiramdam po kasi ng defense ay nagkakaroon ng summation ng kaso at dahil doon ay kinokondisyon natin, no, yung publiko at yung mga senator judges kung ano ba talaga yung ina-advocate natin at gusto lang natin maging patas tayo na pag mag-withdraw tayo ng witness, we simply have to say na i-withdraw natin yung witness. At nasabi naman po ng ating presiding officer na kung kailangan mang i-explain yung reasons because, you know, we also understand the side of lead prosecutor Luis Tro. Maaari naman daw pong i-explain sa mga press con.
Sir, mas marami pang mga witnesses sa withdraw Article 4. Anong meaning yan sa inyo sa defense?
Sa amin naman po, wala. No? That is really the prerogative of the prosecution. Pagdating din ng time ng defense, kami rin po ay baka mag-withdraw ng maraming witnesses depending on how we think our case is going. So sa atin, we will just move on to prepare for Article 1. No? But we have been preparing naman for quite some time. So we just need to shift our attention now to Article 1, but of course without forgetting that Director Matibag will still be called next week.
Sa Article 1, ready na rin ba kayo?
Yes, opo. Lahat naman ng articles, sabi ko nga noon, pagdating sa defense, syempre, hindi natin may iwasan na may mag-anchor for the day, etc. May assigned to do things. Pero lahat kami, no, we're conditioned and our disposition is that each and every lawyer in the defense team should be able to argue and to cross-examine and to stand, no, for the defense on any given day and for any given witness.
Sa horizon ba na papatawag din sa Article 1 si Attorney July Office?
Sa ngayon, wala pa po kaming na pag-uusapan na ganyan dahil nga yung depensa po kasi matagal pa eh. Nandun pa kami sa dulo, no? As far as the prosecution is concerned, I cannot speak for them, but only for the defense, napag-usapan na nga kanina at na-clarify na nga na uunahin munang matapos yung presentation for all articles ng prosecution, tsaka magiging panahon naman ng defense para mag-present ang aming tinatawag na evidence in chief.
Interview kanina si dating NBI Director Jimmy Santiago.
No.
Sinasabi niya na tungkol sa assassin, ang findings nila sa kanilang investigation, may kakayahan dahil may pera at may resources ang Vice President yung kaya ng assassin. In reaction to that.
Well, that's his opinion, but that has to be proven. That has to be proven actually in this impeachment proceeding. So, sir, pasensya na po kayo. I really, you know, it's very difficult for us counsels all.
Violating Rule 18, sir. Can you expound more on the due process argument earlier? Hindi lang masyado kasi limited lang po yung time eh. Why would pagsasabina po ng bank records would violate the due process?
Okay, because unang-una sa lahat, balik ko lang sa nabanggit ko kanina sa oral arguments. No? Pagdating sa pag-issue ng subpoena, you have to look at two things. No? You have to, first is definiteness, ibig sabihin nun, kailangan particularly describe kung ano yung gusto mong i-subpoena. Pangalawa, it has to be relevant. Ibig sabihin, may kaugnayan o direktang kaugnayan dito sa isinasagawang paglilitis. Ngayon, dating naman sa due process, no, kailangan natin malaman, pwede ba yung mga bagay na sinasubpoena o hindi under our laws. And kung ibabaliwala na lang natin yung mga batas natin, kailangan lang natin mag-issue ng subpoena, then nawawalan ng due process because the respondent has protections under the law. Again, hindi lang po yan sa respondent, it goes for each and every one of us Filipinos. No? Basic naman po yan at sinabi rin po sa Supreme Court decision na aking kinote kanina that the due process requirement applies in every stage of the proceeding. Ibig sabihin nun, magmula sa pag-file ng impeachment complaint sa House, hanggang dumating ng Committee on Justice, hanggang dumating dito sa paglilitis sa Senado, dapat nire-respeto and na-observe yung due process, no, para naman sa kapakanan ng respondent.
Attorney, nagbawas na ang prosecution ng mga testigo para sa fourth article of impeachment. On your part, sa depensa, may mangyayari bang pagbabawas tama dun sa pag-counter ninyo sa mga testigo nila?
Too early to say, sir. Kasi mahaba pa to. Sa dulo pa lang kami. Actually, di ba, mauuna muna ang prosecution. So right now, I don't want to give any definite statement because it's really, really too early to say. It's too early.
Sir, comment lang po doon sa possession ng prosecution na in the Corona case kasi piniyagan yung mga documents that predates his term as Chief Justice, and one of your key arguments in the case also on the aspect of predating po, yung position ni Vice President before siya ma-elect in 2022. Comment lang po on that.
I guess, again, I don't want to get into the merits. I'll just say what I stated. No, I'll refer you to my part of the oral arguments. The Corona impeachment trial was done way before the decision of the Supreme Court in Duterte versus HOR. And anong presumption dyan? That when the Supreme Court decided the decision penned by none other than Senior Associate Justice Marvic Leonin, they were cognizant and they were fully aware of what happened in the Corona trial. And that's why, you know, there are guidelines that are enumerated under the Supreme Court decision. And again, I will refer you to that. You can go ahead and read the decision and you will see the guidelines there.
Constitution goes keep on saying, dito naman ay political, hindi ito masyadong technical and legal, kaya dapat manood tayo sa alam mong hihilingin nila para makikita po yung side naman na gusto nila ipabot sa taong bayan.
Ang kaluwagan ba, ibig sabihin po niyan, ay hindi babaliwala na natin lahat ng batas ng Pilipinas. Hindi naman po siguro tama yan.
Sir, additional comment lang. Ang reply ulit ng House kasi doon sa House of Representatives, Duterte versus House of Representatives case ay overturned dictum lang naman.
I've already said my piece
For
on
the-
that.
for the-
I've already said my piece on that, no? So I think you should refer to it because obviously we disagree that it is obiter. Definitely, in fact, dalawang beses pa nga ni-reiterate yung guidelines eh. Started from if you read the decision, the first 2 pages of the decision na may summation dun ng guidelines, and then dun sa last portion, inulit-ulit yung guidelines. So, you know, I think that is something for the court to consider na, no? But obviously, as I said, I respect Congressman Diok, no? I have the utmost respect for him, to be honest, no? So, he has his position, I have my position, meaning the prosecution has their position, the defense has its position, so it's up to the court.
Sir, ito kang binabasa dun sa oral arguments.
Opo.
Nag-inform ko ka. Ano ba yun? Kabisado mo ba sa...
I think it's personal preference. Nahihirapan po kasi ako pag nagbabasa ako because it's distracting for me. So, talaga naman pong kahit noon ganun po talaga ako. No? Hindi ako nagbabasa. At sa regular courts, hindi rin po talaga ako nagbabasa.
Attorney, what will be your preparation?
But sorry. I just have to no, kasi baka ma-misconstrue, no? It's really a personal preference. It doesn't mean that it's better na wala kang binabasa. No, I'm not saying I'm good kasi may binabasa. Wala akong binabasa or may binabasa ako. It's just personal preference. Each lawyer has his or her own style. As you can see, some lawyers kahit may binabasa, ang ganda naman ng delivery and very coherent. So, it's really irrelevant kung may binabasa o walang binabasa. It's just a matter of preference for each lawyer. Go ahead.
What will be your preparation for the defense sa next week in regards to mga bago na kasama kasi?
Well, right now, as I said, we're just shifting gears because I think after Director Matibag, we will proceed with Article 1. So now, of course, we're focusing on Article 1. Although we're prepared for it, syempre, as the trial goes, parating naman may fine-tuning yan here and there. So that's what we'll be focusing on.
What are your hopes for the upcoming decision on Monday on the motion of the prosecution to subpoena the bank?
Siyempre po, kung ano man yung naging posisyon natin, sana we were able to justify it. We were able to show that, you know, the issue on relevance, we discussed the issue on relevance, we discussed the issues on the various laws that prohibit certain disclosures. But whatever happens, you know, we'll take it as it is, and we always submit ourselves to the wisdom of the court. And then also, kung hindi man natin magustuhan, there are always going to be legal remedies available.
Kabilang sa legal remedies. Ang Supreme Court.
Well, sir, it's too early to say. Wala pang decision. I don't want a clickbait soundbite, you know. So I'm not saying anything right now. Those are all on the table, but you know, there's nothing has been discussed. It's too premature, and plus, all of these things will have to be discussed with our client.
Mas simple majority na nga ang kailangan para
I think so. Pag motions, no, I believe so.
So what you're saying, attorney, there are legal remedies kung hindi man.
Again, sir, I've already mentioned. I don't want a clickbait. I'm sure everyone's asking for a soundbite, and I'm not going to give you that soundbite. Thank you. Thank you.
Paggising sa umaga, tanghali at gabi, nakikita ko ang post niya, ang hapdi. Paano nga ba to? Di ako makatanggi. Watch ko na lang at isipin ng mabuti. Bisdak Pilipinas. Bisdak, tinig ng katotohanan. Sa bawat vlog may laban sa kasinungalingan. Mulat ang mata, gising ang masa. Bisdak Pilipinas, para sa bayan, gumigising sa diwa. Sa likod ng kamera, tapang ang dala, walang sinasanto kung mali ang gawa. Hinay-hinay, pero palaban. Boses ng tao sa digital na labanan. Bisdak, tinig ng katotohanan. Sa bawat vlog may laban sa kasinungalingan. Mulat ang mata, gising ang masa. Bisdak Pilipinas, para sa bayan, gumigising sa diwa. Hindi artista, hindi politiko, pero ang katotohanan, sigaw niya ay buo. Sa YouTube o Facebook man siya makita, may aral ka pa rin, may uwi sa bawat salita. Bisdak, gising sa katotohanan, di lang kwento, kundi panawagan. Sa bawat Pilipinong naghahanap ng liwanag. Bisdak Pilipinas, kasama sa pagbangon ng bayan. Bisdak Pilipinas, boses ng masa, gising ang diwa. Sa vlog mo, may pag-asa.